Hello, mic check. Hello, hello,
Hello,
mic
mic
check.
check.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. My name is Pramod Giri. I'm happy to give this test. Thank you. Hello, my name is Pramod Giri. I'm happy to give this test. Thank you. Nature offers no greater splendor than the starry sky on a clear, dark night, silent, timeless, jeweled with the constellations of ancient myth and legend. The night sky has inspired wonder throughout the ages, a wonder that leads our imaginations far from the confines of earth and the pace of the present day out into nature offers no greater splendor than the starry sky on a clear, dark night, silent, timeless, jeweled with the constellations of ancient myth and legend. The night sky has inspired wonder throughout the ages, a wonder that leads our imagination far from the confines of earth and the pace of the present day, out into boundless space and cosmic time itself. There is every reason to believe that effective regulations are not merely a luxury that only the rich can afford, but an important foundation for a thriving private sector and economic growth. But the broad pattern of the past 5 years has been that the main reform efforts are taking place in rich countries. Children as young Children as young as 14 months old will spontaneously help others for no reward, but a study of 3 to 5-year-olds found that although they would spontaneously draw pictures if they were given a reward for drawing pictures, then later they wouldn't make any drawings unless a reward was offered. There are many reasons why water tastes stale when it is kept for a long time. Microorganisms play a big role in this phenomenon. When they grow, they release chemicals into the water from their metabolic activity. This evaporates over time, so the absence of it from water left out for a long period brings about a change in taste. There are many reasons why water tastes stale when it is kept for a long time. Microorganisms play a big role in this phenomenon. When they grow, they release chemicals into the water from their metabolic activity. This evaporates over time, so the absence of it from water left out for a long period brings about a change in taste. A study found that the research funded by the soft drinks industry had different results from research funded by other sources, and went on to suggest that they may have been based by the research itself. The whole point of the scientific methods is to ensure the research results are not influenced by the source of funding. A study found that the research funded by the soft drinks industry had different results from research funded by other sources, and went on to suggest that they may have been based by the research itself. The whole point of the scientific methods is to ensure the research results are not influenced by the source of funding. Along with customary classes on subjects such as finance, accounting, and marketing, today's MBA students are enrolling on courses for environmental policy and stewardship. Indeed, more than half of business schools require a course in environmental sustainability or corporate social responsibility, according to a survey of 91 US business schools published in October 2005. Along with customary classes on subjects such as finance, accounting, and marketing. Along with customary classes on subjects such as finance, accounting, and marketing, today's MBA students are enrolling on courses for environmental policy and stewardship. Indeed, more than half of business schools require a course in environmental sustainability or corporate social responsibility, according to a survey of 91 US business schools published in October 2005. Many non-Japanese know a thing or two about traditional tea ceremony, its history, intricacies, and religious origins. However, few people outside Japan have a deep understanding of the historic meaning of the practice. Indeed, even in Japan, the sacred meaning of tea ceremony is little understood, except by those who have devoted their lives to the discipline. Understanding esoteric. Esoteric. Many non-Japanese know a thing or two about traditional tea ceremony, its history, intricacies, and religious origins. However, few people outside Japan have a deep understanding of the historic meaning of this practice. Indeed, even in Japan, the sacred meaning of tea ceremony is little understood, except by those who have devoted their lives to the discipline.
The Mayans were a group of people who lived in Central America. They developed an advanced civilization. It lasted for it lasted for many centuries. Its high point was between the years 200 and 900. The Mayans are famous for a number of things. They built many city-states. These were like small countries. Naturally, the center of each was a city. Farms surrounded these cities and supported them with food. Mayan cities also contained exceptional works of architecture. The ruins of some buildings can be seen today. There are both large palaces and stepped pyramids. The Mayans had a writing system and literature, but they didn't use paper. Odd, no? Instead, they wrote on stone, wood, and tree bark. Lots of writing was done on the insides and outsides of their temples and palaces. They also formed books from tree bark, but sadly, few of these books have survived to the present day.
What happened to them?
Well, first, the heat and wet weather of the jungle destroyed many, but Spanish conquerors got most of them. They actively sought to destroy the Mayans' written records. Fortunately, other objects, including Mayan works of art, have survived. We can see some of this art on the stones of their temples and palaces. The Mayans were excellent pottery makers as well. They created figures of stone, clay, and wood, and they even made some objects out of metal. But there are few extant examples of any metal devices.
Music, film, and video game makers face a new online digital world, and some are testing a revolutionary pricing system, pay what you want. But a new study finds that when consumers can name their own price, many opt out of buying at all. The study is in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. For the research, tour boat passengers posed for photos. Each boat ride announced a price of $15 per picture, but they then charged either $15, $5, or the option to pay what you want. As expected, the fewest tourists purchased photos when they had to pay full price, but more customers bought photos when they cost $5 than when prices were pay what you want, which could have saved passengers even more. The researchers suggest that choosing to pay less than an announced, lower than expected price made people feel cheap. With choices then limited to spending more money or feeling like a tightwad, potential customers simply opted out of the purchase. So on sea or land, a low set price may catch the most fish.
They call it culturomics. The obvious play on the word genomics looks at trends in human thought and culture. But scientists say culturomics has been hampered by a lack of quantitative data. So researchers at Harvard, along with Google, Encyclopedia Britannica, and the American Heritage Dictionary, have come up with a new tool. It's a database of 5.2 million books published since the year 1500. That's 4% of all the books ever published, with a total of 500 billion words. The focus is on English language culture, so 3/4 of the books are in English. Among the first findings of the research published in the journal Science, about 8,500 new words enter the English language annually, but many of them don't end up in dictionaries. And about fame, actors become famous around age 30, writers around 40, and politicians around 50. But the fame of politicians can eventually exceed that of actors. A Google tool called the Books Ngram Viewer is available based on this data. Users can track the usage and frequency of a word or phrase over the past few centuries. Thus, we can watch the fall and rise of Melville, and soon the rise and fall of Snooki.
Classified advertisements placed by individuals in newspapers and magazines are not covered by the Advertising Standards Authority's Code of Practice. If you happen to buy goods that have been wrongly described in such an advertisement and have lost money as a result, the only thing you can do is bring a case against the person who placed the advertisement for misrepresentation or for breach of contract. In this case, you would use the small claims procedure, which is a relatively cheap way to sue for the recovery of a debt. If you want to pursue a claim, you should take into account whether the person you are suing will be able to pay damages, should any be awarded. Dishonest traders are aware of this and often pose as private sellers to exploit the legal loopholes that exist. That is, they may claim they are not in a position to pay damages.